we'd like to sing a song about the American dream. About me. About you. About that special feeling we get way down in the cockles of our hearts. Maybe below the cockles. Maybe in the subcockle area. Maybe in the liver. Maybe in the kidneys. Maybe even in the colon. We don't know. I'm just a regular Joe with a regular job. I'm your average white suburbanite slob. I like football and porno and books about war. I got an average house with a nice hardwood floor. My wife and my job, my kids in my car, my feet on my table, and a Cuban cigar. But sometimes it just ain't enough to keep a man like me interested. Oh no, no way. No, I've gotta go out and have fun at someone else's expense. Oh yeah. Yeah. I drive really slow in the ultra fast lane while people behind me are going insane. I'm an
Hello people of the internet. Have you enjoyed that lovely artist from way back when? That recording is older than some of you.
Shocking, isn't it?
It is. But nonetheless, one of the greatest lyrics ever.
There is a film, if you haven't seen it, called Judgment Night.
Oh, you told me about that once before, yeah.
Dennis Leary plays the villain, and it has an amazing soundtrack with a mixture of rap and metal bands from the early 90s, which have been paired up. So sometimes you'll get the rappers will be doing the lyrics and the metal band will be playing the music, and other times it'll be like a rap sort of beat and then the band will be doing it. So it's particularly wacky soundtrack.
Well, those are the best. So we're starting today with another terrain manufacturer. I can't
remember if Run DMC and Aerosmith are on it. Run DMC is, but I can't remember who they're paired with. I know Faith No More had the Booyah Tribe with them.
Run DMC? Didn't they do with well. Anthrax?
Could be. Weirdly, Spawn did it years later, and people were going, "Oh, this is amazing." If you're going, I think you'll find it was done about 5 years ago. Spawn fans. Let me just move some Star Wars things.
Yeah, just before Panzer Kaputt arrives and is coming over to your place and nicks them. Clan Ren flying by. So, Eladan.
Yeah, I thought we'd start with the Germans.
Is a very... I have seen and heard of those before, but really not ventured too far into them because it's not Star Wars.
it's another terrain company, although they do miniatures as well. This one probably could have actually gone out as a Indie of the Week type of thing, but you know.
Well, we're going to concentrate a bit on the terrain part of it. Which should we first start? Modern, medieval, Dark Ages?
I mean, taking Saga as an example, Dark Ages would seem a good place to start.
Yes, Saga is a very good example. What? So the picture is not clickable, only the link.
No, the link is that. And I'm not going to say anything about German efficiency, but you fell down there, son, didn't you?
Yeah, this is not what... I could also... Oh. Wait,
What?
This is a German site, so potentially there could be problems with a missing imprint. But we're not here to nag about that. We are going to look at lovely, even quite expensive, I guess, in resin buildings.
It is. It's all resin. Lovely, lovely, delicious resin.
Well, then we go full ham into the Dark Age living
the longhouse. Yeah. It's a striking centerpiece. Not as big as the Hall of Ridiculousness from Foreground, but more easily sightable on a table. and probably in scale as well, if you're not actually planning on being king of Viking land. Or Nigel, as I believe he was known.
It is a rather big piece. Is the teddy fur isn't resin, is it? The roofing.
No, I believe that is.
That
Is it?
I had.
No, it comes with synthetic fur. I know some of them are cast resin thatch on them. So I suppose it depends on how old or new the sculpt is. But it's a classic longhouse with all of the buttressing around it, and I quite like the charring on the timbers above the smoke holes.
So
fire pits, and William Wallace in the.
Do they come painted? No.
No. Oh, you have to paint it yourself.
But the attention to detail definitely is something to be seen. Those little, I can't get this any larger, where the cracks in the outer parts of the wall, where you see the substructures.
If you click on you look at the bottom, the individual pictures. There's one at the end which is just Mel Gibson. There you go. So you can see. You should be able to zoom in on the buttresses there, and you can see they do actually look like real trees that have been hewn into spot, so it's not just made up joinery to actually get them there. It's buttressed like the archaeological thing will be, and this is one of the reasons why I really like the range of resins they do. They are historically and archaeologically accurate to the things they're supposed to be. They haven't cut corners just because it's a tiny resin building that people are going to put in the corner of a table and then ignore.
So basically this ventures more into the realms of dioramas than actually wargaming, but the sheer fact that you can take the roof off and play inside.
It's just a better class of wargaming building. I mean, you can go from layouts drawn on a bit of paper all the way up to like the Grand Manor stuff, which is just redunculous. This falls somewhere in between, where you're not paying 400 for it, you're only paying about 100, which is still expensive, but
I'm
on
guessing,
that sliding scale.
I'm guessing for a game of Saga you don't need that much terrain, so the large hall would be a bit much anyways.
You're limited in the amount of pieces of terrain you can put on the board in Saga. So it's like 9 tops, and there's limits within them as to how many can be buildings and what size of buildings. So if you drop that on the table, chances are it's probably going to be the only thing you have. But they're one of the incidentals, the little beehive style oven, is just adorable.
And I think I haven't seen that done by anyone else. And again, the logs are. It looks like there has been someone about with an axe picking at it.
You will find there are other companies that we'll probably look at over the next week/months that have done incidental pieces like that. I know if Pete was lurking about, he'd be naming 2 or 3 in the things. I'm not going to bother because it'll just eat into what we're going to do in in subsequent games.
Can you see Laughing Boy is awoken? Has anybody told him that we played yesterday?
Oh yes, don't want to ruin it for him. But yeah, the buildings are a gem. The little incidental pieces are gorgeous. If you look at the barn.
Oh, look at this! A small
you find a doghouse. Don't think that's historically accurate.
Well,
doghouse and dog. I'm going to include both in that, not the breed or the build. But if you look at the buildings and go to the barn, because the barn is a different structure, the rest of them are sort of wattle and daub, so they're filled. Or you've got off book into the medieval.
Yes, I was venturing forth. So
no, you can venture forth in a minute, but I just want to very briefly show you the barn. Dark Age barn top.
Oh.
Wait till you see that. As far as wicker work goes, that is insane, and that's one of the reasons why I still rate resin over plastic and MDF kits for certain things, because you can't achieve that with either of the others. And I mean, that looks like it's got holes in it, and somebody could really do with going around and filling it. Possibly get somebody in to do a bit of repair work on it before they end up with wind blowing in the cold winter. But
Or
Jesus,
some
it's good.
animals escaping.
Yeah, and I mean, and if it cost me 35 quid to get a large wicker woven barn like that, I would pay that, because I've done wicker myself, weaving it with wire, and it takes a fucking age. And to do it on something of that scale, it can get right fucked.
It does look very lovely, and indeed,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing they went through some pain making those masters.
Yeah, it's the same as fugu. Drink. Whenever he does the dry stone wall stuff, there's an age spent actually layering up all of the things before he casts it. But then once it's done and cast, knock them out till the cows come home. Where to next? We have a look at the medieval
Yeah, this was
or
rather
Warhammer.
rather short, only 2 terrain pieces of larger size, but
Yeah,
boy do they look nice.
yeah. And even though this says medieval, anybody who's visited parts of any parts of Europe, England, wherever, you will still find buildings like this occasionally in the middle of fuck nowhere. So these could easily sit on a fantasy table or a medieval table or a World War II table.
I love the windows. They've done a really nice job on the
the
lead glasses.
The lead glass and the if you look at the glass in the top windows, it has that circle from where they dropped it.
Yeah.
I think it was formed of the drop mold, which is, I mean, anytime you see a fucking Christmas card, you see that style of window in there. The fact they've done that is mental. I don't think it comes with the kit. I could be wrong. Someday I'll find out. It's possible they've inserted that themselves via the medium of resin, but the attention detail's stunning. And even if they turn out to be additions that they've added, if you're just getting empty window frames, back of a blister packet, stick it in there, drop PVA glue in on top, and when it's dry, you're done. That's it.
I don't think they would go on and show those this way without having them. And I think there has been some very tricky painting going on.
Clever people doing clever things.
I would assume.
Their stone looks okay. It's not as nice as my flick it with a toothbrush effect.
Well, because those are still clean in the city, and no bird can shit horizontally. So
that's not bird shit. Yeah, that's. I had a geologist tell me the name of them, but I can't remember. What's it say on the sign? Because the sign's in German. Did you notice that?
Which
sign? It looks like if you hover over the front, there's a sign. There's like a tavern.
Oh, the other
building. It looks like a fat friar eating something. Zoom. Can't read it. Can't read it.
Oh, can't make it out.
Oh, what a shame. Well, I'm not buying it now.
Well,
I don't know what the sign says.
I'm guessing by the little figure on it, it's some drunken monk.
Probably.
Some fröhlichen Mönch, probably. To the happy monk or something like that. But can't I just wait? This is the biggest that gets. No.
Oh, well. Well, no, that's it. It's dead to me. Move on. Let's have a look at the Second World War.
So then there is... Where is it? There. World War II and modern.
Modern. For a given value of modern. Quote, quote.
So...
If you're expecting to see the...
What really bugs me is World War II buildings are almost ruins. Almost any time. I know that there is a reason for them, but why not make 1 or 2 intact buildings?
There was a company called Renegade, I want to say, who made 2 buildings. And it's not just they only did 2, but they made 2 versions. So they made an intact building, and then they made the same building but ruined. And I bought a load of them in 15mm for Flames of War, so I could have them and then go, here's my cafe, and here's my cafe.
After the
bombing. Fucking great. But yeah, well, you can often pick up buildings like this from model railway people that are intact. So ruins do a slightly better job for wargaming as well, where you're not having to go, it's a full building and I can't get the roof off.
Well, it just bothers me a bit because you're breaking a style on the table if you're mashing too many different manufacturers of terrain together. Especially those rail stuff is a bit... You can see it's from railway modeling, usually.
Well, yeah, it's because the railway modelers. It's not their fault.
I think it's because the railway stuff is just too much on scale, whereas miniature terrain isn't really into scale if you would size it up to normal scales, I'd say.
I see where you're going. Just put my glasses on so I can see.
Small bits in terrain.
Small bits.
Sets
and
of
pieces.
Gonsack. Barrels. Lovely, lovely barrels.
Everybody likes barrels.
And a single toilet. Well, everybody now and again needs a toilet.
Let me go out on a limb and say more than everybody needs more than one. When was the last time you actually seen a toilet in any fucking kit anywhere?
I
Even
think
the
some
toilets they sell don't
MDF.
have toilets in them.
I think I saw some MDF kit for a Western city with an outhouse, but that's about it.
Yeah, not the same. Essentially, that's a garden shed with a half moon on it.
Yeah.
Not actually a proper ceramic toilet.
Well,
I'm trying to remember. I think somebody had one in one of the projects, which we won't be looking at tonight.
Did Modifius do something like that on their
I know
terrain
TT
rubble?
Combat did a load of resin frippery for houses and stuff like that. Could be a mimic. Could be the Chaos Toilet. Do you remember the Chaos Toilet for GW? I have one about here somewhere.
We have some dead furries.
They'd look great on the floor of my barn or on the walls of my longhouse. Just saying.
Good luck making a cape from those for your soldiers.
If it's resin, into the hot water, heat it up, bend it round, perfect fit. Booyah! As I believe the kids say.
It is resin. You actually could try. Oh,
You need to get a set of animal skills. It's nice.
You're giving people weird ideas again.
Dead furries, the only good kind.
Oh,
Hashtag no kink shaming.
somebody in the chat going rampant again. Oh, he is again. Oh no.
Yeah,
Well, those look nice.
it is. It's a compact and bijou little set of resin terrain for various things. I mean,
And they
do people need a trophy rack? Probably not, but you know.
But it's something to be said. They do a very good job in presenting the terrain. It's painted. It's a good photo. You see what you get basically. It's not very thin. Some companies have a tendency to show you stuff where either it's hidden in some larger picture, so you can't really make out what you're getting, or it's plain, simple, unpainted pieces lined up, which isn't very much inspiring. But this I can see people really teasing to get.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're kicking around there, they do a couple of sets of animals as well. And these are tricky things to get, not as bad as they used to be.
A dead cow.
But being able to get your hands on, well, they do live cows as well, being able to get your hands on a flock of sheep is relatively easy. But then finding some of the weirder bits and pieces, if you want to have, geese, or if you want to have donkeys or oxen to pull a cart, that sort of thing, they do those. And they also do some nice wild animals, so they do really nice deer and saber-toothed tigers and stuff.
Oh, the sandbag emplacement looks very nice, much more detailed than the ones I would make up from any material.
They've probably done it exactly the same way you'd be doing it, just clay and then press it down.
Yeah, but the detailing is much higher. They have knots on the end. You can see seam lines.
They've got painted stripes on them. Fuck them.
Oh. Well, that's a job for you then.
Well, heck is like.
You have done your due on stripes.
My work here is done. I won't be doing that again.
Well, should we venture on then into projects?
Yes. Let's have a dingle-dangle around the project system.
So the first one, you snuck again my Legion for whatever reason.
Snuck it in for whatever reason. He screams, "I didn't even include this."
Ah, liar, sir! I call you liar.
He said he wasn't going to do the show tonight unless we showed it, folks.
Yes. So this is basically just me doing a roundup of the current state of the Imperial and Rebel Army.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? Laid out on your lovely new mat.
Yes. 50% off.
One step away from flicking the V's there, aren't you?
Yes. And so this is basically everything that has been released from Legion on the original set since day one. Plus one small in the upper left corner, this one. Flying little chariot.
It's a good way to go.
The snotling in a pram.
Yeah, sure.
It was sold as snotling in
I
a
know
pram.
it was, yeah. I didn't believe them when they said it, or when Warren printed them.
Well, this is from Wargaming. Oh, I can't remember the name. So it's not printed. It's a bought single miniature.
Oh, well, that's handy. That seems to have no mess around with this 3D printing nonsense.
Doug the Fuck, welcome. So
Doug Lee.
going
Yeah,
on.
I just wanted to show off Timberley's stuff there. Look at you go, Tim.
I need another stack for the miniatures because I'm running out of space. So there needs to be another shelf added in.
What do you make your shelves out of? Is it just wood? And then
two pieces of wood. One is
bored
getting
through.
drilled and then glued to the other.
And then glued to the other.
It's the most simple way. I've got a vertical mounted drill bit which does the circular.
Yeah, just bench press drill.
Yeah, just measure out where each individual hole goes, and then it's just a matter of going for half an hour.
Because I thought that, but then I'd seen that you'd done it with the ridiculous sized vehicle bases as well, and wasn't certain.
Well, there
War
are
Games exclusive. Thank you, Mr. Holland, sir.
Yeah, there are drill bits for me up to I think 40 millimeters in diameter or radius.
Yeah.
So the smaller ones work, and the larger ones are basically cut by hand. So I'm making smaller holes, and then I'm using the pendle saw going around and then filing it a bit.
Should get yourself a router bit.
Well, I could.
Sorry, we just distracted ourselves here.
I could.
This is Tim again.
The worst shaped base is the one from the tank.
Yeah, the Sabre.
The oval one. It's
See.
the Imperial one. This one in the back, because it's basically two large bases glued together with a bit in between. The even larger tanks from the Clone Wars set are not yet anywhere seen. And I'm hoping that FFG doesn't use those bases for anything in the original line. It would really...
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Wow.
Only a matter of time.
Probably.
Only a matter of time.
Let's get on then.
Yeah, let's plow on.
There
You
is
want
a
a golden
little
button for
one.
this, have you?
Shut up, you cunt!
Asking for a friend, no reason.
There is Robert, and he's doing chaos.
Rhubarb.
Who's distracting who?
You could never be... Oh, who knows? You can never be certain what Rhubarb is going to come up with. Because it could be chaos that's actually technically really chaos, or it could be something like the demon that comes after the Chaos Lord, and I've no idea where he gets these things from. I suspect whenever he buys them, he has to sign a non-disclosure agreement with whatever twisted individual and lunatic asylum is producing them.
Or he's really using the method of, here's my bits box of chaos bits, take a stick of glue, roll it, and see what sticks.
Oh, I don't know. I have to say the demon's a bit wee. It's a geezer. I do like the word bearer looking fellow there, which I think is the old Chaos Lord kit based on staff and stupid hat head. I've seen that before. In fact, I may have part of it in a case behind me somewhere.
Well, he is doing some lovely paintwork again with those.
There you go. Look at that. It's not right. And with all those arms, I can't help but feel it's doing some sort of demonic flashing where they all hold the flaps open so people can stand into its massive vagina belly.
Or he's just venting hot air because...
No, it's not
maybe
what I plan on imagining.
Maybe he's having a fart.
As long as he doesn't follow through like that fella.
It looks ugly in a nice way.
Oh yeah, it's delightful.
I wouldn't want to mess with that with this kind of enemy on the battlefield. And he's doing conversions again like a lunatic.
He does do that. He is fond of it. I think he might have shares in green stuff. So it's possible. It is possible. Those come from Zinj, famous for the industry, and the Lost City.
I wonder, is there a close-up of the land speeder we just saw in the background?
I haven't seen it.
It would be a shame. That looked promising. Much more promising than the recent release that GW did.
I don't know why people are freaking out about it. It is just it's just like they took the old land speeder and just went increased the size by 30% and then put a guy on the top. And it's not like they've changed anything or made it any different. Let's just make it slightly bigger.
Did you see the Photoshop version where somebody took the gunner from the back and mounted his head on a regular Marine?
No.
It looks like he's having some weird gun on his shoulders.
I did see one where somebody had super zoomed in on him with the two barrels of like the heavy stubber running at either side of his head and just said, "It's Battle Brother Tinnitus."
And somebody took that image and photoshopped it onto a regular Ultramarine.
Zinj.
There's so much going on this miniature, I can't decide where to look first.
It's very Blanche. Remember Blanche? It used to be a thing. I think, and I can't be entirely certain, but I think he found all the leftover bits. And then went nuts. Because there are two variant heads for the Greater Demon of Nurgle, and one of them is currently on the end of that... I'm trying to remember what it was called. Mauler Fiend. The end of its neck seems to have been extended via the medium of one Nurgle unclean one. But there's so much other things, like you say, there's tentacules, both green stuffed and metal from miniatures.
Those are old school, these little buggers, aren't they?
All the familiarity things does breed contempt.
Oh god. This is... I gotta ask Jerry, does he have some issues that he's thinking of these conversations? Conversions?
Conversions? No, I don't think he's got any issues at all. I think he works them out on green stuff. And to my knowledge, nobody has been found skinned in Armagh in months. Not since the lockdown.
I wonder what kind of mind thinks of these contraptions.
Well, not all of it is Robert, because some of those things come to him like that. So CP models is, a prime example. They're as responsible as he is. But yeah,
and
we'd get him help if we thought it would do any good.
He surely has a way for tentacles.
Oh yeah. Sometimes more than 10
tentacles.
12 tentacles.
I'm not going...
At least none of them are doing anything untoward to themselves. They're just
lightly clad ladies.
Just existing.
This is madness. I'd like to see this army fielded as a unit on some weird Gothic terrain invading an imperial city.
Yes.
Can we make him?
Don't think so. At least not at the moment. Not because of the event. Remain indoors.
Well, he could do that indoors. He does paint indoors.
He does paint indoors, but I don't know if he's got a table that he can set up. We should find out.
That's a shame.
There are ways and means of asking.
Zing.
Words.
Well, I would ask him if he was here tonight, but he's chosen not to.
He's a cunt. What can we say?
Yes. What I could say.
Hey, fuck you.
See, and there's the land speed I was talking about.
I have no doubt it will appear at some point in the future.
Barely visible as a land speeder still.
It's been primed. I seem to remember the green stuff going on that like last year, or at least the beginnings of it. It was something non-committal. It was like a tentacle added to something and maybe a pustule just in front of the driver.
And a lot of skulls.
Oh yeah, a lot of skulls.
Well, Robert, you have done well. Oh, judging by you showing off Legion, I'm guessing Panzer Kaputt has joined the party?
Maybe, my done. Don't know. What's it to you? I have you.
Oh, he is. Hello, Panzer Kaputt. Jerry is being mean and showing off stuff even I don't have yet.
You know, it's not often we get something for the Germans. I'll take it.
Take everything you can get, give nothing back.
That's the one.
So, the next project is final push of Lorna's approach to get himself killed.
Yes. And I can't be entirely certain whether it's some sort of suicide pact.
I
with
was
somebody else, but I haven't seen anybody else commit to actually painting everything they own.
Do we need to intervene on this?
Yeah.
Do we need to send him some miniatures?
Might be worthwhile, I think. Everybody dig deep. It could be a spaceman's shoulder pad, it could be a snotling. Every little helps. It could save a life.
Does some nice yellow work.
He does. I really like that. Because I've been looking at...
He will never hit 100%. Well, it's nice to hear.
Yeah. There's a couple of griffins I have kicking around that I need to do for my Kings of War. And I was thinking about possibly a leopard sort of colour scheme on them rather than go for the golden lion. But seeing that is very striking. So...
Oh, she's a bit on the tilted side.
Imagine that's her base, or the tab for her base. Base.
Oh, look, a monkey.
Yes. I can't remember we've seen the monkey before. I've definitely seen the monkey before, but I don't know if anybody was with me when I seen it.
I
also,
wasn't.
probably people are freaking out because we're calling it a monkey, but they're probably the same people who care whether or not boats or boats or ships, so let's not worry.
And it's not a librarian who will slap you in your face when you call him an animal.
That is true. This little tyke. Oh, if I go all the way back, I can find my original librarian.
Oh, lovely miniature.
Which came from the Cunning Artificer many, many moons ago when he was still a thing, before they started getting microarts to do them.
Why is there a face coming out of the ground?
Let's hope it's the ground. Let's just hope it's the ground and not something else. Could that be
the rear end of a rhino?
Doug McClure crawling out of the backside of a woolly mammoth? Could it? Maybe. You know.
We won't ask. We don't need to know.
We operate don't ask, don't tell when it comes to sphincters.
Well, these are definitely... I think we haven't seen this project in particular because there is no like from you. But
well,
I think he's a clever bastard by doing multiple projects with the same idea behind it.
Yeah, it's one way of going. I do know, I think it was a few weeks ago when we looked at his tank that I had this project and the tank opened and decided to just do the tank that week. So it's one of those things. But even little things like the Necron tile is super poppy and bright. It just looks just darling altogether.
The tonk.
Like a brain in the jar with an eye on a stalk. That could be you someday.
Potentially, yes.
Potentially. See?
But maybe no.
Everything to look forward to.
I think I'm going to stay in the mortal realms, and then when the time comes, just be a composting pile of meat that gets shoved into the furnace.
Meat puppet.
Nobody wants to be worm food.
So, I just see Cross McGlenn's playing Clan the Gale. Huh. Clan the Gale from Dundalk. Sorry,
Should
get
we
distracted.
go on to the next one?
Yes, we should.
Hero Quest by Ktiaka or Captain Aqua.
My family's heavily involved with Clan the Gale. And then my cousins live across the border from Cross McGlenn and Blaney, so we hate the Cross McGlenn. Just so you know. So I know you're going to come down on the Rangers side there, Pete. Anyway, Hero Quest.
Pete is distracting my co-host.
Captain Aqua. Yeah.
Captain
This
Aqua
happens.
has painted the heroes.
He has painted the heroes. There seems to be a lot of this going about, so much so that Hasbro has seen Project System and went, we should fucking do something with this. Apparently, it's very much the coming thing, they tell me.
Are you referring to an ominous countdown page that has been posted hourly in the Discord?
Yep, that's the one. I too am looking forward to seeing Hero Quest Monopoly in 7 more days or whatever it is. Yeah, 7 days.
Actually, next Tuesday, 2 hours before we start.
6 p.m. my time.
No, 5 p.m. your time.
5 p.m. All right, smashing.
It's
6 p.m.
6
Lily o'clock.
So we could potentially have a big
Coming out party.
yeah, or just vomit all over the screen, depending on what they are doing.
At the end of the day, whatever they do won't be as nice as the stuff Boris keeps doing for other independent companies, but they just seem to go through Hero Quest and then I never see them again. So it's very annoying.
Well, imagine Boris would be the official sculptor for the official game by Hasbro.
Oh, that would be fucking amazing. That's not going to happen.
No,
there's
of
no
course
way.
not.
There's no way Hasbro would take a look at Boris's stuff and go, "That's what we want."
We
You
would
put up a
never
picture
get
of a
such
goblin
nice
today that
things.
looks like Telly Savalas. It's fucking amazing. Looking at it going, "He loves you, baby."
But
Anyway,
one can dream. Well, this was a short one because it's only heroes yet.
Yes, but it's just the yet bit. So I'm throwing it in there now so people can poke him with sticks
And just look at
and keep an eye on it, because it looks like he's breaking out the contrasts, which seems to be people's go-to these days for board game pieces. Get the contrast down, move on with your life.
There are games I actually can see myself potentially wanting to do the same and go the Warren route with contrast, simply because of the sheer amount that's in there. There's the oh god, I forgot the name again. Where is it? Legends of Andor,
Oh yes,
which has a shit ton of models and some others. Well,
Hero Quest by Hasbro. It would be WizKids. I don't know if it would be WizKids. Avalon Hill they own that as well, and they're the code labely signy thing on the countdown.
It boils down to Hasbro having
Koenig
bought
knows.
every company
yeah.
under the sun.
The only one they haven't bought yet is Games Workshop, and I imagine for reasons.
I'm guessing there will be no nice models in it, but that one may hope. I'm definitely saying there won't be GW minis in it. That would be a rather weird surprise.
Avalon Hill do Axis and Allies, so potentially it could be an Axis and Allies reskin.
They did also risk with tiny miniatures, which don't look too bad, but we will see. I think it's only
Who
a week.
knows?
We can control ourselves sometimes.
Say that. I can't.
Next up,
Every time I try and control myself, Sweet keeps telling me to
Maldrak
tweet
picks
something.
some bones.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing on social media. Anybody who follows on Tabletop on social media, by the way, sorry for the last couple of days / next 3 weeks while Ben's away, and I'm having to do the tweets and the face page posts because I haven't a fucking clue. I tried to do some hashtags yesterday. I've given up now. There won't be any more hashtags on Twitter because I just don't know how they work or why I'm doing them or what even should be a hashtag. And I refuse to find out.
So Meldrak is doing bones.
Bones.
Are these Reaper bones?
Yes, they are Reaper bones. Various flavours of Reaper bones. For example, there is that delightful green one is one of their see-through bones from Bones 1. Because I have quite a lot of those because I was going to use them as spirit hosts before Warhammer got double tapped by GW. Use them as tortured souls now, and Kings of War, a far better game anyway. Fuck them. But yes, Meldrak has been dipping in and out of his bones collection through various Reaper Kickstarters, and I think even some of the Bones Black have crept in on occasion. And they're a lovely bunch of figures. You can see as he gets progressively closer to Reaper Bones 4, they get better sculpted. That Skelly Bob is a Bones 1 because I have him also.
What I really like about the bones, aside of the obviously very well money to miniature ratio, is that you can actually see with every new bones Kickstarter the quality goes up a notch. They are improving, they are learning and doing better.
I mean, the first one took an age to fulfill, but they've also used a big chunk of that money to set up manufacturing for it in the US. So the original bones were produced in China, and then shipped over. But then they invested quite heavily, so a lot of it is sort of becoming more used to actually doing it themselves in-house, month after month, year after year, and it's showing. Even things like changing the composition of the bones and getting the bones black to be that sort of higher density, better features and that sort of thing. Yeah, the miniatures are lovely, and they paint up a treat regardless. Even the cheap and nasty first iteration of bones are more than good enough because you get like
I'm
three Skelly Bobs for.
I'm still having this
£3, I think.
Little lady here that has been gifted to me from somebody sometime. She's a bit on the bendy curve.
It's one of the angels.
Angel of Shadows, yes.
I know
By
her.
some artist called Jay Guthrie.
Julie.
We may have heard of.
Oh yeah, I think on occasion I've heard of Julie Guthrie. She's a delight.
Yeah, actually I
met her Grenadier range.
I had two of these, and one has been painted up by my daughter, and this one is still in wrap because I hadn't found any time nor inspiration for painting. And her sword is bendy, so that needs to be remedied at some point.
You know. Or you just live with it.
Yeah, I could put her to my stack of Keltos.
Oh, wow.
At some point in the future, I need to get out that box of Keltos and do a photo shoot of all the blisters.
just put them on the floor and roll about in them. Make lead angels.
But yeah, but then nobody would see the miniatures, and nobody wants to see me. So just got the miniatures on the table. So
yeah,
how many has he actually done?
Oh, we've been in here before, but not for a little while, and he's used that time to fill up.
Has he been
filling up on bread rolls?
Busy bugger, yes?
Yeah, oh yeah, very much so.
Because I can remember the barbarian being the banana man for scale as a alternative.
Yes, yeah, when he was doing the giant Heffilump Mamluk.
This is a scary one.
It's a Gug.
But he just wants a hug.
Sure he does. He's not going to hug off me either. Roll your sand. There's a point anyway.
Do a sanity check, and then maybe do a perception check.
I think that shows two
spot
things.
hidden.
No, never flashes spot hidden. One, it shows if you put your mind to it, you can actually paint stuff, and it doesn't need to be super highly detailed. Because I know a lot of people go, GW paint up really easily because they've got all the sculpting in the world on them.
Yeah, but you don't need.
They show that they can paint up just as easily without having a ridiculous amount of detail on them and still come out really nicely.
And at the end of the day, it's a hobby that should give you some stress relief and be fun.
Yeah.
And when you start being
I've heard
anal
that.
about your hobby, you'll start losing having fun. That should be the point where you maybe take a break and a step back, or think about why you started this hobby in the first place.
Thunderfoot Defender, look at that.
That's a chunky boy.
Triceratops Prop Warrior. Huh? Not sure where he got that skull to stick on the end of his mace. A little bit disturbed.
Maybe that was his predecessor?
I feel like there's a Doug McClure faction should be stabbing them with pointed sticks.
Oh, a flying pterodactyl.
I think the next one you'll hit is the essentially end of March, when he went, I've painted everything that came in Bones 4 core set.
I think this is the one where we left, because I remember the apes.
I mean, filth, isn't it?
This
Isn't it filth?
is just... Doesn't he feel ashamed showing off so many nicely painted miniatures?
Should do. I haven't even got half of my Bones 1 out of the plastic bags they came in. And don't worry, I think I've only applied paint to 2 of the fuckers, and that's only so I can test paint schemes on them and strip them.
I really love the little menagerie of wizards in the middle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is... If you were to play something like Dungeons and Dragons, this is all you need.
That's where they started the Bones range for GMs who need loads of cheap dross to throw at their players, and if it's just going to get scraped off the table and into a bucket at the end of the game, fuck Cross McGlenn.
Also, one cast
rebel bastards.
One cast models usually don't split when you drop them.
No, well, some of them are one piece, a lot of them aren't. They're just pre-assembled. But even at that, you'd really have to go out your way to get any of those to break when you chuck them off a wall in a bad temper.
Depending on how fast the delivery service is next week, I'm going to have my new troll for my Blood Bowl team, Snotlings. I'm just a bit unsure when it will arrive, because for some reason the
whole way till 19th?
Where the store I ordered is partially in mainly in Spanish and only partially translated into English, so most of the things I can't read. I know they have sent it, but I've got no tracking number or anything.
I got a tracking number the other day from Polish crowd. I got a load of scenery off Apocalyptic Terrain, and I can't even open it. Every time I open it, it's asking me to weigh the items so I can send the package. I'm going, well, clearly I'm pressing the wrong part of this email.
Or they have sent you the wrong email. Would be also a possibility.
Could go either way.
Well, should we venture on then? Evil Stew.
Yes.
That's a name we haven't heard in a while. And he has done Sharpies, historical tinkering.
Yes.
That's a lot of miniatures.
Touch the old sharp practice. It's any help though none of them are based yet. Small victories, mate. You've got to look for small victories. Look at that and go, oh, painted are they? You're going to get to the basic anytime soon? No, fuck you.
Plus the terrain isn't painted either. Is it getting lazy?
I imagine so. It's run like buff. But it's nice to see a bit of historical in there. So this is 30 years old, bits and pieces, I think.
I love these wall sections. You could make anything of it. Just a plain green, some places of grass, or put some headstones in it and make it a graveyard.
Those wall sections look very familiar. They look like the foam ones that Java Scenics do. Does he say where he got them from? Blah, 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 blah. 30 years old, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't. I just need a suspicion of Javas. Anyway.
Well, maybe he's showing them off in earlier. No, he doesn't. Test infantry, and there we were.
We'll find out. We'll find out. He can't keep away from me forever. I'll find him.
Sooner or later, Jerry will find you.
Yeah, 30 years war stuff. Very nice. Again.
But the basing, we are missing the basing.
Missing the basing, but there's good breakdown of what they're using figure-wise for the game and how they're being painted as well with reliable colours. So you see the options that are available and how he's gone about knocking out the buff-coated people.
And I really like the setup he used for taking the picture, because it looks much more like I imagine a actually charging army would look in this setup than the usual rank and file where everybody is just in a straight line.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun of pike and shot. Maybe get some Spanish. I've got some Turk clues to unbox at some stage from 1898.
Oh, speaking of weird boxes, I was waiting the whole day for the news article you were teasing yesterday during our game session. Or have you decided?
No.
Have you decided against it?
I know exactly when it's going out. I don't want to ruin the surprise.
This was just. Have you told Warren yet?
No.
Oh, that will be so much fun, people.
Don't want him stopping me.
We had a light laughter before our gaming session, and this is all I'm going to say.
No, oh yeah. It is the must-have gaming accessories of 2021.
If you don't have those, you can't call yourself a gamer or a grognard, of that matter.
Be there or be a rectangular thing.
So the next one is a project we had seen by there, Dave. This lovely orc spaceship Hulk monstrosity.
Yeah,
He's scratch build.
There's no orcs in this update. No orcs need apply.
No, but he did some mines and lovely flyers.
He has done some mines and lovely flyers. Yes.
Can you tell me, these bases on the fighters he used, are they actually this way when they came from GW?
No. Well, yes, because they are GW bases, but they are the original Epic bases before they changed to rectangles. Oh. So if you bought those for Battlefleet Gothic, they came on rectangles as well.
Because I was wondering of the extra circular indents in those. So
it was to take the 6mm Epic figures.
That would make sense then.
And then the little hole, which you can see on the mines. Well, you can see at the back of the base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was so you could stick standards in. Cool. So you could mark your
we know
companies
which
and stuff.
Okay, I see.
The old days. Games were good.
If GW would re-release Battlefleet Gothic and wouldn't stray from the game like they did with Speed Freaks, I'd be really tempted to go all in on that, because that was
what
a game.
Are the chances?
Zero to slim. But that was a game which I saw coming, didn't have the money, and then it was gone.
Yeah,
and
it was a shame.
You can't go out and try buying those now. You just end up broke.
Yeah, no, it was. It's like a lot of things GW do, and then drop like a bad smell. The prices just go ridiculous. But there's a lot of other good spaceship combat games kicking around out there that are worth a punt. Gothic was all right. Gothic was essentially Titans in space.
I actually
from 3rd edition Epic.
I just love the design of the Imperial and the Orc fleets. That was just something that was a design they actually designed that caught my eye in the first place for 40k. Epic and the Gothic style later.
GW haven't balanced the game. I was going to say in years, but I don't actually think GW have balanced the game ever. They certainly wouldn't bother to do it if they re-released Battlefleet Gothic.
And
if you balance, then people stop buying stuff.
That's the problem. You need to shell out more unbalanced stuff to tilt the edge in the other direction so that people are buying the other way. And I've played both Battlefield Gothic video games, though. They are fun. But it's not the same, and you don't get to paint anything.
That's a hell of a whoops digital error there. He went to buy some shades and accidentally picked up a 400-pound tank.
I really didn't want to go in detail on this because I saw the figure and I thought to myself, going from 100 to 400 isn't a whoopsie in my book.
Shockingly, he was buying 5 pots of paint, and they in themselves were going to cost 30 quid or 25 quid.
25, around that.
Five for a pot.
He's a lunatic.
Fuck right off.
And yet, you know what?
Is it magic paint? Will it paint my miniatures for me?
It's tartan paint.
Oh, that'd be okay then.
Well, you know what the worst part is? He probably didn't buy at OTT.
Well, no, because I have a sneaking suspicion Forge World used to have their own range of paints and pigments. I don't know if they still do. So presumably, he was buying those paints from Forge World because they're only available from Forge World. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and the small miniature just accidentally dropped in there.
Fell into the basket.
Whoopsie.
Oops. We've all been there.
Well, we shall venture on then to Forging a Day. Dynasty, not a day. What am I talking about? Dark Denigan.
If people have watched either the Community Spotlight or the Weekender, they'll have seen some of this already, just in case they hadn't. I thought I'd show it off because he's got White Spirit from, I think, B&Q, which is obviously the most important thing, where he buys his White Spirit.
As long as he doesn't drink it.
You know, nom nom nom.
But he does a very nice job in getting the metallics done. They actually look real nicely metallic.
That's because Payne's Grey is an amazing colour in oil. And you can sit there quite happily buffing your miniatures all day long. Buff, buff, buff. Buffy, buff, buff. I think he took too much off on that picture, though. Although he's probably going to make those symbols all glowing green like he's done with the other things. But it really does show what you can do with some time and oils.
Oh, he has used some model color metallics. Those don't look too shabby either.
No, later I've used model color air metallics for years, up until I upgraded to their new metal color airbrush metallics, which are better again. But they were always a lovely set of metallics to begin with.
I think. Hold on.
Is it this? Is this what you're reaching for?
No, I'm reaching for this.
All right, I thought it might be that.
Because I was a bit baffled last time I looked for a color to see that there are actually metallics in this set too. A black metallic and a bright silver metallic.
Shiny.
So, seeing him doing those, I'm actually tempted to use that as some sort of base for the Indomitus box. And then go there...
Oh, that's right, you won that.
For some generous internet page sitting up there on the shelf, looking down on me, being guarded by the Orc battle tank.
It's the best way. Otherwise, they'll drive around the place.
Or maybe even worse, try to free all the other miniatures from the cages. Oh, show off.
Got a golden butt, that thing.
Jerem Latham. So
I remember him.
Well, he still has his channel, I think. Well,
I remember him when he used to work as a part-timer in Games Workshop.
As a painter?
No, just in the store at head office when the store was downstairs You had to go upstairs to get into the
I think you need to write a book sometime.
mostly be swearing.
Well, that wouldn't be too bad, would it? I really love the way he's done the object source lighting, though the turquoise isn't quite my kind of color, but it fits the Necron style.
It does, and it fits the Soundgarden album cover.
Yeah, I really loved that idea, and when you were talking about it on the, I think, XLBS, I was starting to think, how can I nick that idea?
I used to be part of a Warhammer. There was a Northern Ireland club called the Northern Wasters, who went to tournaments, big into the Warhammer tournament scene, and Sean, I think he's in Cardiff now with Firestorm Games. He helped start it. He was a big fan of Gary Newman. Gary Newman has this weird symbol. It's like a very pointy symbol. Lots of spikes. And we got that on everything. We got that on our t-shirts for when we went to grand tournaments. We got dice with that printed on, like 6. And I have a plan that I've had for the last 20 odd years, probably more, that I would do my Dark Elves for Warhammer Fantasy. I would use that as the symbol for the shields and all the banners. Someday I'll do it.
Well, you could make a transfer from it.
There's no point lying to myself.
Yes, there is.
We know it's not going to happen. They know it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But yeah, occasionally I just stumble across something that just works. And I mean, that is spot on for the Necrons, just like our lovely Gary Newman Northern Waster symbol is spot on for my Twilight Kin, as they'll be for Kings of War.
Yeah, I think he has his work cut out for the next multitude of Necrons. Now we need them all to be that shiny. Up your game.
Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just stop there.
Next up are some lovely dwarves by Duck the Fuck.
Is that his name on the list?
Could be something else, but which I could not pronounce. Maybe it's Duck the Fuck.
I think you'll find, as I put it on the list, it's Doug, you can't stop me from painting Fug.
That could be. I could have just chosen to ignore that.
Aim low, achieve your goals indeed, hazy boy. Well, I decided to skip the Dark Age Irish, and lo and behold, I opened up a dwarf. And who should it be but Douglas Esquire, working away on some... it's not Isle of Blood. I can't remember the name of it anymore. Might be Isle of Blood. No, I think that was skipping high odds. Off that Warhammer starter set with the lovely one-piece minor miniatures.
And there are so many things going on these miniatures where I just have to say, God, I hate you, Doug. Starting off with, he's done 3 in a day, he's done tartan, and he's doing object source lighting in a subtle working way, which totally...
This is all true, but he is shorter than me.
Well, that's a win then.
Yeah.
You have the high ground, so it's an automated win.
Oh, very much so. Padme found that out.
Don't try to jump, you'll just lose limbs and other vital parts.
Was the thing I seen? Somebody trying to justify it going, it was all a ruse. I got the high ground bit because in Phantom Menace he actually had the low ground. Darth Maul had the high ground, but he used his ability of being master of the low ground to take Darth Maul out. Therefore, when he said, I've got the high ground, Anakin, that was to force Anakin to jump higher than him so that then he could use his low ground advantage once more. And that's when.
Could be. Well, but that being said, this is I think the movie with the most utter devastatingly stupid scene in the whole canon that is Star Wars, the part when he's rising as Vader from that medical bed and is shouting, no!
But without that, we would never have got no.com with its lovely no button that you can just spam.
It's just, when I saw that scene the first time, I was just totally, utterly destroyed. It was, and to make matters worse, the first time I saw that movie was in the cinema, so it was the dubbed version, and the what's it called? The voice actor that did Vader originally.
James Earl Jones.
No, the German one.
Oh right,
has passed away.
Version.
Has passed away some years ago.
Right.
So even in the special edition when they were released at the end of the 90s, the newly plugged in scenes with Vader already had a new voiceover, which totally destroyed it.
Oh, do.
Yeah,
why,
it wasn't.
Why would they?
And the same voice actor did the Anakin Skywalker no part, and it's just, oh god, it's awful. It's one reason you don't want to revisit makeovers of classic videos.
It's also one of the reasons why I don't like dubbing. Regardless of what language the film's, I would rather read the subtitles than put up with bad lip sync and weird sounds. It just freaks me out.
There are
Toros, I was thinking that when he said Ewan as well. Sorry.
There are exceptions to the rule. Try to listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger's version of Hercules in New York. Even in the English version, he has been dubbed.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing you can do about that because
they did a re-release. You can get the movie on DVD with Arnold's voice lines in it. It's terrible. It's terrible beyond belief.
Talk amongst yourselves, kids.
He has no voice acting abilities at that point whatsoever.
No, because his two jobs at that point was bodybuilding and bricklaying. He was a brickie.
I think. Where did I've seen the trailer for that on, I think, the Tron DVD release back in the day, where they actually made with Arnold's original voice, and you get some excerpts and you go, God, no, please, stop. It's just
I can imagine
terrible.
It's amazeballs.
I think it would make for a hell of a watch party.
Featuring Arnold's real voice for the first time. Only £3.90 on Prime. Get it tomorrow. I won't get it tomorrow because I'm in Northern Ireland.
Oh.
Only one left.
Oh, shit's going down.
Whoopsie. Right, let's move on from this.
quick venture on. So, Duck the Fuck, nice dwarfs. Your
Well
painting
done.
is great. We hate you. And here we have some
The OSL worked really well.
some weird knight.
Yeah. He's a key
Hazy boy. Is he joining in the
Oh, yeah, he's lurking.
Path to Conquest? Small Grow League?
I believe he started before us. So he's cheating and I'm not going to let him get involved.
Oh, and he's using the means of modern technology.
Oh, Warren's also done this. Warren's 3D printed cobblestone for the top of his bases.
I saw his renderings and I thought to myself, why? Why?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought a sheet of plastic card and a pair of scissors or a knife, and you could have knocked those out. You know, did the entire army in an hour. It's taken him 4 hours to print one.
And designed it.
I have no idea how long it took him to design it. It took 4 hours to print it.
Also, I think it would have been a much quicker way if you just gotten some green stuff and the roller from green stuff and just flattened the whole thing down.
I have to say, I do like that. Is that the drill master in the bronze armor?
You're a bit far ahead.
No, not that much further ahead of you. He's the guy who's walking down the steps.
Oh, there's somebody. I can't tell who is who.
Well,
he looks
I'm the
nice.
one I'm the one over here, and that fella in the middle isn't me. Because he's got mutton chops.
And again, this is why I don't like 3D printing. These horizontal lines look terrible. The painting is nicely done, the foliage is great, the miniature is nicely painted, but these horizontal lines just...
Noble. Fair enough.
Fuck me off, this is... No.
Hit it with a hairdryer.
Or some acetone.
I have no idea if that works.
Depending on what filament he uses, you can use chemicals to flatten it.
Filament.
But you need to be careful. It could ruin the thing.
Might not. Where did you get the trailing ivy type leaves? Is it just one of these pots that I have here? Yeah, I think it is. Just like one of those seed pot things.
It looks like, I think it's birch. Partially, I'd say.
Pussy willows. They look nice. I like them. Going to be coming up on collecting time for that again, for people doing it at home.
I think the time is already upon us.
I don't know. I haven't been outside in so long. I don't even know what year it is. It's fucking hot. I'll tell you that. It's September and it's hot. This should be practically Christmas.
I only know that because the good man Michael from Tabletop Workshop has done a video on collecting the seeds, and it's time now.
I remember Squidgy Bidge up in Scotland. Did a video on that fucking many moons ago. Good old Squidgy Bidge. From the odd store. Oh, it must be one of the packs from Green Stuff.
The knights really look nice.
Knickets.
Except for the mold lines. Do you see the mold lines on the legs?
I tell you what.
Do you see them?
You'll be seeing the mold lines on the legs of fucking mine. I've got the bastard paint in 3 months.
You're not going to buff them?
They're not for me, they're studio on me. They'll get enough done.
And here I was thinking that Lena would have some leverage on saying, no. You didn't do your...
No.
Speaking of, where are the shields?
Still in the bag behind me.
I thought as much.
It's moral high ground at this point.
Just beware when she comes around with the sword.
Oh, Hazy boy, I understand 110%. Not cleaning them. I do like how they've turned out. You've fairly got the boot down since your initial 2 test models.
Oh, look what he's watching in the background. How can he paint when he's watching other people's projects?
It's very simple. First he gets drunk, then he puts on us, and then everything gets a dry brush of brain matter beige. Profit.
To be honest, when you asked me last week if I had gotten Grey Matter Beige, I was very much tempted to just go back to my friendly local dealer as he was still open to get one more pot of paint.
Look what it does.
And when I was there yesterday, after they have closed and we just had a little chat, he asked me, do you want some paints? And I said, oh no, I have more paints than I need. But in the back of my head there was, I could use some Grey Matter Beige.
See? Increase your painting output and quality by 100-fold by the medium of Grey Matter Beige.
And just to emphasize on what a nice man my local game store owner was, he gifted me 2 boxes of mini American sized card sleeves.
Oh, excellent. That'll be handy for when you get lots of tiny cards.
Those are 2,000 sleeves.
That's
more than enough.
A lot of cards you need to fill.
I'm going to say it's probably more than Legion will ever release. And since I've stopped gaming with X-Wing and with version 2 they also stopped the mini cards, I think this will last.
Yeah, Pete, they'll fit the not the actual card, but the little half cards that all your upgrades are on.
Yeah.
That's what they're for. Or The Walking Dead use them as well. I know this, for I have them.
The and the store owner had an ample amount of promotional material for making Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering tournaments and events.
Like Friday night Magic tournaments, shit like that, yeah.
A fuck ton of those, and those will be gifted to local youth points.
Oh, that's good.
Free of charge. Just out the door. Here, have it. Go on. Be happy. I would be jealous if I were to play any of those games, but I'm not.
Reach a point where you just go off, stash exceeds life expectancy.
Also, I looked... I watched people play Magic the Gathering. I never could get the hang of it. I never understood the mechanics.
It's all about tapping stuff.
The only tapping I know is done on the bar, where the beer comes out.
Have you ever seen that bit in Tombstone, where Johnny Ringo is starting to do all the fancy gun tricks, and then Doc Holliday drinks his little shot of like whiskey or whatever he has in that tiny cup, and then starts doing it. And he's like, goes one way and then goes back the other, and spinning the cup on his finger. That's more or less magic. If you just take that motion and then just put it 90 degrees down, so on the table, so you just do that and all the cards go one way, and then you go back the other way, and then you fork the lightning bolt damage.
Well, could be.
Anywho.
Well, let's get... Panzerwood is saying something is boring. What is boring? Magic? Got drunk, break, but a beige cut a game. Okay. Next up then is The Resurrection from Apple Mac. I think this is... Was this his grandfather's or father's army or something, if I remember correctly?
This is an army he wants to use with his son. He wants to teach his son how to play, so that this is one that's been sitting for 30 years, 40 years, something like that. So he was working on it for the Spring Clean Challenge. And this is actually his battle report. So it's a little 7-post type of thing. You're looking at the first picture there. So while you're looking at that, I'll very quickly run through what he's done here. The scenario is an uneven fight between the invading English force, which has taken over. I'll throw the link in for the kids at home, I suppose.
No points involved. The imbalance is deliberate. Two sides have different establishments. The English far superior cavalry, and the Covenanters have more infantry and a Highland contingent. Forces have different objectives. The English have to have at least 50% of their initial force still on the table at the end of turn 7. The Scots have either driven the English from the field or have taken at least 50% of the English army. So it's slaughter all around.
Yeah, that type of thing. There are objectives set up, and then he started to go through. If you just go to the next part of the blog, there's the 7 turns. So you get this lovely little thing where he's explained that he's essentially made his own game up using bolt action styly rules. So the units have got a raw, trained, or elite, essentially, morale rating. If they're within 6 inches of a commander, they get a +1 to that. If they take 3 hits from an attack and fail their saving throws, then they can rout. Take casualty. 3 casualty markers as a rout. And apart from that, it's just dice in the bag with 2 bonus blank dice. And when those both get pulled, that's the end of the turn. So there's a bit of, you don't know if everybody on both sides is going to activate.
So you're encouraged not to plan too far ahead, because it could be ending anytime soon.
You don't want to push somebody into a position where they're just going to get cut off and face raped by the opponent before you get a chance to reciprocate in kind. And so he goes through all 7 turns. Lovely little battle report explaining what's happening with this set of rules. That he's solo gaming here, but the idea behind it is to play through with his kid. And so the game needs to be simple enough that it can be picked up by, but still have a bit of beef behind it.
And I think testing the rules by yourself before you get to play with anybody else isn't a bad choice.
No, very much so.
I like the wounded markers.
Yes, well, he painted those up as part of the Spring Clean Challenge. Although he's got quite a lot more to go. But it's handy because the bold action system, because you don't know when people are going to go, and then the fact that he's added a break point where it could, both sides could get everybody activating, or maybe the actions stop after the first two draws. You just don't know, so you can play against yourself without having to do that. Well, if I push them forward, then I'm not going to fire at them now with them because I'll just get hit by that later on. You don't know that everybody's going to get their activation, so it's easier to play solo. So it's quite
Imagine having a bad luck of draw and every turn is just two dice throws or something.
Two blanks, yeah. These things happen. That's just a cagey engagement, and neither side wishes to push forward because they don't know if they've got the metal of their opponents.
Would add a layer of authenticity that's missing in most games. You shoot first. No, you shoot first. You come over here. No, you come over here.
It'd be like Wolf at Quebec against the French. Shoot first, gentlemen of France. Because he knew he was outside their fucking effective volley range. He wanted to get them to waste their shot.
Some sneaky bastard.
So by the end of turn 6, there were very few orders actually given out that turn, but the ones that did come out proved very important to actually driving through the centre and riding the English regiments in front of them. So it's nice to see a battle report in here.
It's been too long.
Depending on how clever people are. I mean, I quite like the photo and then just writing down what happened. I really like the old style Games Workshop battle reports where they used to get you'd have photographs of the interesting things with the models. There were little pivotal points, but then they would have the top-down maps with arrow
with
from
the
this unit
icons
into that, and so they've just been shot and such, and there's a really good
tool
computer system called Battle Chronicler that lets you do that.
It looks very similar to old White Dwarf battle reports.
Oh yeah, very much so. I used it for some things
and
previously.
When Legion was very new, I did some battle reports in a similar way like he has done, but at some point I always forgot to take a picture from a turn, and well, having a battle report without any pictures is not very fun.
Yeah, but then if you take pictures, you'll find you have to make notes as to what the pictures are for. Because I've done it in the past where I've taken loads of pictures and then I'm sitting there going, is this turn 1 or turn 2? Did that happen at the end of that, or when did this?
That's the clever thing with Legion. You have your current turn counter. If you place it in a way that you can make it out on the picture, you actually know which sequence they go.
Wouldn't make a blind bit of difference to me. I normally have a dice at the side of the board and I could never remember to take a picture of the dice, so I knew. But if you do read through that little battle report, he does end with a little sort of, having played through this, there's some things I want to change or some things I want to think about. So obviously there are people who have more experience with pike and shot style games kicking around here. If you have any suggestions, I'm fairly certain he would probably be more than interested in hearing them. He does suggest that he's possibly thinking about dropping the amount of dice down, so instead of every unit having a dice, and then occasionally get those 2 break dice to making it more significant, which I think is sensible. If you're thinking about them in terms of battles with commanders and sub-commanders, and then give them possibly, your commander gets 5 dice in the bag and a sub-commander gets 3, so you've got a finite amount based on who's there, and if you happen to lose a sub-commander and shit gets bad, you've still got the units, but your command and control starts to break down.
Yeah, and he's ending on a very positive note. Now for pizza and beer.
Pizza and a beer. Smoke and a pancake.
Can't go wrong with that.
Mm.
And also, I love his army in those little cat food bags.
Yeah, well, I mean, I adore that whole project from the minute he started doing it to the 7th term finish up there. That has made a thing in it I haven't thoroughly enjoyed, whether it's digging out old miniatures and getting them painted for the first time, or digging out something that's got a bit of a scuffing to it, or doing a bit of terrain. There's so much more to come. Because he's done a wealth of stuff for 2 full armies and probably has about the same number of miniatures again still to be done on the workbench. So.
Well, I really hope he's going to do more on this. This should prove interesting.
I think so.
So the next one, there's somebody staying at home for whatever reason. Because of the event, maybe?
The event, stay inside. Remain indoors.
You have won a brick. A piece of wood. Oh, look, these look familiar.
Well, they should. Why is that not? Oh,
and they're not
doing linky things to me.
They're not clickable. Damn it.
This way. That is obviously the Scooby Gang from our friends at Hassle Free. But the Mr. Grimace working his way through
multiple things.
6 months of lockdown via the medium of tiny fighting men. You know.
I wonder, is it really working? Do you keep yourself sane by painting small, tiny details that you barely can see?
Well, I haven't done any of that. I'm still seeing.
Well, that's debatable.
Fuck you.
We'll talk about.
You're not my real dad.
We talk about that next Monday. Let's see who's rolling for sanity.
There's a point anyway. But yeah, this is.
Oh, he's using the Uhu and glue and ink.
Tamiya.
Yeah, this is a nice one. I always wanted to try that.
Best way to do blood effect. Uhu glue is amazeballs.
And it smells great.
And it smells delightful.
Oh, speaking. And actually, that's the glue I used in elementary school. Way back when nobody cared about anything that was in those glue. That glue worked. You take it to school.
Yes, and it did work. It was very stringy even then. I seem to remember, but it's, I mean, for gluing, I've always used it for gluing bolts and plastic and stuff like that together over super glue.
But you have to be careful. When that sucker starts burning, there's no way of putting it out.
Well, omelette and eggs, same as any good glue will spontaneously combust when left to its own devices, I assume. Because most of mine do.
They vanish into thin air for some reason.
He's breaking out the glycerine to soak his moss. Top fact, if anybody goes scooping moss and other things, you need to preserve it in some way so it doesn't rot on your bases or dry out on your bases. I know a lot of people go, oh, you can use herbs and leaves and this and that and everything else. Yeah. And you can. Definitely. And then after a couple of months, you've got some sort of brown muck. So glycerin will seep into it and preserve it.
He's doing really lovely little things.
It's just a wander through the streets of loveliness in here, of anything and everything that sort of appeals to him.
Like a walk in the park, but without annoying dogs.
Very true. No dogs here no dogs.
Or leftovers you may step in.
The dog leavings. Is that what you're saying? The leavings.
Worst dog owners are those who pick up the shit of their dog, put it in the bag, and then leave the bag on the ground.
Yeah, I've never really understood why they do that.
Either go full lazy and just leave the shit lying around, or if you're picking it up, take it to the next bin.
I don't think they're that clever.
Could be that hard, can it?
Fuck you.
You'd be surprised. Look, I can click on this one. There's Walking Dead in there.
There is?
And there's Dirty Harry. I don't know what picture you're looking at, mind you.
I'm on September
I've gone
13th
off book. I'm just clicking on things.
about the Rome somewhere, and then
All roads lead there. It was one of his special tea trays.
he does some weird joining of pictures. I don't know what he's doing.
Some sort of magic thing. What's the camera mean in the top corner?
I think
That's
it's
he's
just
taking a picture.
a screenshot from a gallery of sorts or something. I
We know
imagine
he's taking a picture. I mean,
because it's embedded
if
in
you
the.
hand drew them all, that would be fucking amazing. Wouldn't that be great? If there was somebody opened a project and it was just filled with like pencil sketches of the work they'd done on their miniatures. Not even good pencil sketches. It's like shitty pen.
Stick figures.
This week I've been working on my Spire army for the path to conquest.
Here's your idea
here
for
are
your.
my force-grown clones.
Here's your idea for your next year's 1st of April's project. I painted my stick figures.
Oh, I need to write that down. Remember that. What are the chances? What are the chances?
That would actually be fun if at 1st of April some people do some really insanely stupid projects.
Oh, just fill the project system.
Well,
that'd be great.
we could use some weirdly shaped fruits, vegetables, and mushroom, and Link Warren in every part of it.
Good news, everyone. April 1st next year is a Thursday, which is the day we film The Weekenders.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Just throwing it out there.
Oh, this is lovely. Well, get on to the next one. Extermination. Oriskany. I saw him posting some things about it in Discord today. I think he went a bit, fuck it, I'm going to paint you.
Yes. He had it since Christmas 2019. No, he must have had it before Christmas 2019. He hasn't picked up a brush since 2019. I was at that boot camp because I dimly remember not being employed by Base of War, yet still ended up with the microphone and stuff and not getting anything done. Because they'd forgot to fucking... that was it. Warlord had forgot to send the fucking rule books, and the only person who knew how the game was played, apart from me, was Charlie, who spent most of the weekend in the fucking studio filming Let's Plays with John on live streaming them and stuff.
Oh, okay.
In the meantime, everybody who had a question at the boot camp, which was like 90%, because there were no army lists or anything, people were just handed stuff without a book. I was like, make your army? I was like, okay, this is what you bastards need to build. So yeah, that was my weekend. So I remember him winning this. Not that I'm better.
Maybe a wee bit.
A little bit. Tiny little bit. Someday I'll finish painting mine. I know how I'm painting mine anyway. Like that. Sandy, very sandy.
I can feel his pain when he is going, well, it has been sitting there long enough. And I was... He's referring to it as his pile of shame, even though it isn't that big a pile. His words, not mine. And I said, well, just see it as a pile of opportunity.
This is the thing, because I need to focus on mine and do it, but then I keep doing strange things. Like there's a picture of an anti-tank gun, a pack, and one of the German loaders has got a shirt off, and I keep wanting to do it where he's tanned from like the forearm down.
This one.
And then really pink. I want to give him sunburn on his, as if he's just taken the shirt off and he's really pale, getting sunburn. And then I think, what the fuck am I doing to myself? Just paint his fucking skin one colour. Don't start doing elaborate, where are his tan lines going to be when he takes the shirt off and starts getting burnt.
It's a short...
And this is why I get fuck all done.
It's a short step from doing those kind of details to start scribbling serial numbers onto the guns and ammunition racks.
I can't be held accountable for any of it. Not me.
Well, but I'm happy to see that he has done his due diligence to his pile of shame.
Oh yeah.
And It
Bish,
wasn't
bash, bosh.
that
Ole, ole.
big, was it? Did it hurt to do? No, probably
It was
more.
28 mil, mostly, which is unusual for this kind of. It's in bigular sized over what he would normally work. So I'm sure that the DAC caused him more pain than the the Cold War stuff.
Well,
Simply due to scale.
obviously he survived doing his project.
There are 3 trucks. Nobody has sold 2 trucks. Does that mean you have another truck in a box somewhere? Oh, fuck.
Have you just found something you needed sometime?
No, I'm just looking at him because he was just given the same army we got. If there are 3 trucks in my project, I've done those 2 trucks. They occasionally show up when I'm doing like a chipping tutorial or weathering tutorial because they're completely done. And the plan was they were all fucking done at the same time. So I go, that's that bit done. If there's a 3rd truck in a box, I'm going to lose what little shit I have left.
Maybe he had swapped the truck with somebody.
Yeah,
else.
let's imagine that's exactly what he did, and I'm not looking.
No, it's just he probably picked. He went the usual wargaming route, and he won one army and just picked some parts he thought he'd need to make it complete.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Just don't look into your boxes.
Preaching to the choir.
Well, the next project is some sort of double feature by our lovely Amachan. So here we see something she has done with UV colors, not needing any LEDs, I think. Amanda, might you enlighten us? Those glowing eyes are just reflections of UV reactive paint, aren't they? If they're not, fluorescent paints. See,
Fluorescent
that's
paints.
what I mean.
Amazing. Because we were looking at it thinking Blinky had infected everybody. Oh no, he's gone too far. And we'd have to do, I don't know, some sort of deep clean, like a COVID thing.
Blinky has gone viral and is infecting the community. We need to do a system flush.
Very much so. That would be like the hollow virus from Red Dwarf.
But it's a really spooky way of painting your minis. And I think a cleverly placed ultraviolet LED somewhere in the terrain would make this really work.
Yeah, well, you know, LEDs, 10 a penny these days. Everybody's doing them. I mean, I can do LEDs if I want to. Don't want to. So,
also,
way to go.
You even don't need to solder your LEDs. You need your little button battery and just put the 2 contacts on and it works. So it's even I could do it, but I won't.
I was planning on doing a lot of Greek hoplites where I would just use the button battery as the shield and just an LED straight to that. Fuck it. Why not?
Would be a bit out of place, I think.
No, fine.
Yeah, this is nicely done. And then her other project is a archer. Not glowing.
Not glowing.
And also not 3D printed. I'd say. Her other work is 3D printed. Amanda has gone full hog on the resin printing. So if anyone has infected her, we should call it the Warren flu.
That would make sense.
Oh, see here we have a Claptrap, a Good Boy, and Wally the Wobot.
He looks hauntingly familiar. Why do I know that robot?
Wally the Wobot?
The one with the TV face.
That's Wally the Wobot from Judge Dredd.
That's why I know him.
That's one of the miniatures that were in the Kickstarter for Block Wars. As an actual miniature, so I have that one in metal, not as a 3D print.
Kickstarter from Block Wars?
From Kickstarter from way back when.
He looks like he's put on a few pounds. Was Wally that fat?
Now, I think he was a bit skinnier, but being a comic, those dimensions usually go from left to right.
Well, yeah, it depends on who's drawing it that particular week, I suppose.
Oh, and I know we have seen the bearded beer costume man.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, I just wanted to highlight the glowing
Yes.
eyes on the creepy thing, and then the archer, because the archer's a really nice paint job as well.
And
With compound bow and everything. No
Yes.
bowstring on it. Way to do it. Way to do it.
very nicely done.
Yeah, never string anything you don't have to.
Don't do any rigging on any ships.
Fuck yeah.
And the last one for tonight is Firefly. This game is long out of print, I think. Is it not?
Yes. No.
Yes, but no? Would you like to elaborate?
I think Gale Force 9 still have it in print, but some of the resin expansion packs and stuff may not be available anymore. So things like that, because the customizable ships, which are in a stack over there somewhere, which I got just because it was Firefly. They were additions for the board game, because it wasn't a miniature game, it was just a board game, but you could buy nice bits of kit to dress your game up a bit.
And for board gaming pieces, they do look really nice.
Oh yeah, they look spectacular, and the paint job is shockingly nice on them as well. Yeah, Firefly still exists. As to whether or not you'll be able to find the ships and stuff, Gale Force 9. Pays your money, takes your chances. They're not quite as bad as some other companies when it comes to the Bolivian marching powder. But they're definitely not particularly good at keeping shit in stock, I'll give you that.
Are you
Reavers!
are you
Fucking Reavers!
are you referring to FFG again for some reason?
Me?
Yes.
Am I?
I'm asking.
Probably.
Are you?
It would make sense if I was.
Oh, he really does a lovely paint job on these.
Quite like the mat it's on as well. It's very red.
Red
In fact,
dwarf.
space is very red.
I like them. This is nice.
That's coming towards you. If it was going away from you, it would be a blue background on the space.
That's
Hashtag Doppler effect.
That's one kind of TV series I'd like to see continue. Please don't
Fuck.
reboot. Just continue.
Oh, we'll never see a continuation. That's not
No.
going to happen.
Probably not. But again, one can dream.
I think at one stage, somebody made the mistake of saying, I would love to do it in there like an instant, like a Comic-Con. And a bunch of fans immediately started to GoFundMe, and he had to turn around and go, no, stop. I can't do it. I'm doing Castle these days. Hey, Wash is directing his fucking web comic thing. She's off doing that. They're off doing this. Josh Whedon's off tickling the Avengers. None of us are available. Please put your money back in your wallets.
Yeah, it's like with the Mystery Science Theater, where they also got crowdfunded again to do another season.
But they wanted to be crowdfunded
Yes.
to do another season. So I think that's the difference.
And it's makes you wonder why some series have such a long running while being mediocre, and then such nice.
I hope you're not referring to Mystery Science Theater 3000 as mediocre.
No, I was thinking about The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The,
Yeah,
the
it sucks
first,
balls.
the first few episodes and seasons were nice, and at some point I lost total interest because where were the zombies?
I've not actually seen the TV show.
Well,
I've read some of the comics.
the
Comics are
the
good.
first two seasons, I think it's mainly a small group of stragglers trying to survive with a lot of zombies, which was all the point, to my understanding. And at some point, other humans became the enemy, and the zombies were more or less just some
Incidental.
random threat running around.
I suppose after a while, they're not a threat. You know how to deal with them. They're just an inconvenience.
Yeah, and I think they are now on season 10 or something ugly like that.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I stopped watching 3 or 4 seasons ago. Could be asked.
Like the hedgehog.
Like the hedgehog.
Can't be arsed either.
Oh, I almost forgot.
Oh my god. What can it be? We're all doomed. Who's flying this thing?
Well, who is?
Oh wait, it's me.
Yeah.
I'll just go up to the top, shall I?
So, everybody, this is a slightly shorter than usual. We're not close to the 2-hour mark, but I'm knackered. And tomorrow is a long day. And
It is.
we all...
I've got to try and work out how to do social media posts. Hashtag, it's my first day. I should just put fucking it's my first day with Homer Simpson talking to penguins up for every fucking Twitter thing and face page.
Since Beast of War or On Tabletop is a WordPress installation, I'm a bit baffled that you have to put up extra tweets, because there's a plugin for that. If you write an article, it gets automatically shoved to Twitter.
We use some sort of Hootsuite, which has got an owl on it.
Yeah, that's the professional version of Twitter, but basically it's the same.
Thankfully, I'm the tech guy, so I can sort the shit.
Just pull the plug.
Oh, don't tempt me.
Oh, pull the plug. Well, then again, peeps from the internet, from the chat, thanks for being there. We will read you in Discord some way again. Tomorrow there will be no radio by Warren, as he has stated, because he has to make amends with the headmaster for some reason. I would like to play mice there and see what he has done to be called in again. See you then. Bye.